Now, as we wait to hear from President Biden, we're joined by House Speaker Mike Johnson. Mr. Speaker, thanks for being with us tonight. What are you hoping to hear from President Biden tonight?
Well, it's a dark time in the history of the country. This is a dangerous time, and we've been suggesting that all elected officials, from the president on down, really try to draw the country together. We need a unified message. We need to turn the temperature down. And I think it's a time for moral clarity. I mean, I think everyone in elected office has a responsibility in all of this, and we need to remind this country that we're all together. You know, there's no place for this rhetoric that has heated up the political environment, and it leads to this kind of action, and we all have to do our part. So I hope that he'll take that seriously.
How do you think that happens? Because, as you know, this is something that is happening on all sides of the political aisle, from Democrats, from certainly from Republicans. How does that happen?
Look, there are offenders on both sides, of course. We've got to get back to civility in this country. I mean, I'm one that tries to work on that in Congress. There are others as well. But here's the thing. I mean, it's an objective truth that Donald Trump is probably the most persecuted and attacked political figure in history, certainly among presidents, maybe at least since Abraham Lincoln, Civil War era. And that takes a toll. I mean, when my colleagues go out, Democrat colleagues, and say democracy will end, the republic will be in an emergency stage if Donald Trump wins for president, it's just not true. It's another election. And when they say that kind of rhetoric and they heat it up like that, there are people out there that take these things to heart and they act upon them. Politicians are not responsible for that. But we do have a responsibility to be responsible. I mean, you know, we're not asking for much. Let's just dial the rhetoric down. Let's have a vigorous debate. That's what our country's built upon. But we have to see one another as fellow Americans and not enemies.
I do want to point out, just for fairness, I don't want to get into an argument about this, but the former president himself has also used that kind of rhetoric. He said on June 27th, Joe Biden is a threat to democracy, a threat to the survival and existence of our country itself. That's certainly the same kind of language you're talking about.
Listen, everybody is prone to overstatement, okay? I mean, a few days ago, earlier this week, I mean, Joe Biden actually said we need to put Donald Trump in the bullseye. I mean, right? I don't think either of those men meant to imply anything beyond just rhetoric. But the point is the rhetoric has consequences when you have a heated environment and you have a political division in this country like we have. In the age of social media, everything is amplified and everyone can go on and turn the dials up every day. We need to work on bringing that down so that we can have thoughtful debate and we can have policy debates and discussions and not all the rest of this.
It is extraordinary that this was able to take place. Obviously, there's a failure somewhere of law enforcement, unclear who at this stage, but the fact that a shooter was able to get a high position that close with a line of sight on the former president at a major event like this is shocking.
It is shocking, and I've called last night for hearings. We're going to do this as quickly as possible, get the answers that the American people deserve. What happened here? I mean, I think pretty clearly there was a security lapse at least, and we need to find out, for example, why were drones not used in the area? I've not gotten a satisfactory answer on that yet. I mean, that seems pretty obvious that you would do that so you could see people on rooftops. This one from the vantage point of the stage was just seemingly an easy thing to monitor, and they didn't. Of course, we've all heard the eyewitness accounts of people on the ground who saw a guy with a gun on the rooftop. Why wasn't it stopped sooner? Lots of questions. We have more questions than we have answers, but Congress is going to get down to the bottom of this.
Speaker Mike Johnson, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you. Jake?
Thanks, Anderson.